Have you ever found yourself wondering if there are, insights into global shifts and maybe hidden knowledge out there? Perspectives that most of us just aren't privy to.
Hmm.
And what if those insights came from someone who, well, claims to communicate with the deceased?
Yeah, it definitely adds another layer, doesn't it?
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a plunge into some truly unique source material. It's excerpts from a fascinating YouTube video titled Kraxies Blue Wija Live. That translates roughly to Crash is Approaching Live Vision,
Right.
and it features a Polish visionary, Krzysztof Jackowski. His pronouncements are, well, let's just say they're striking.
Very striking.
So our mission in this deep dive is basically to unpack his really bold predictions, things about an impending global economic crash, a kind of new world order,
And alongside that,
and alongside that, yeah, his extraordinary claims about communicating with the deceased. We're going to try and pull out the most important nuggets, give you a shortcut to understanding these intriguing and sometimes startling perspectives.
Yeah.
So buckle up, because we're about to explore material that kind of weaves together financial prophecy with these profound spiritual claims. It's a really compelling look at a worldview that challenges, a lot of our conventional understandings.
absolute where we start.
Right. So diving into this visionary's outlook, what immediately jumped out at me was this really potent premonition, an impending global economic crash.
The crush.
Exactly, the crash. And it's not just vague, he gives it such urgency. He points specifically to Western countries and even sort of links it to the full moon cycle. What were your initial thoughts on that specific prediction, the timing?
That sense of urgency is palpable, isn't it? What's particularly compelling is his assertion that the first significant symptoms are already starting to emerge, or they will very, very soon.
So it's not way off in the future.
No, not according to him. He sees it as an active process, something unfolding now. He's essentially telling us, be on high alert for those first signals.
And it doesn't just say crash, which is already huge, right? He offers a specific how, this concept of the Warawani wallet.
Leveraging currencies.
Leveraging currencies, yeah, on a massive scale. You mentioned it's a financial mechanism, but what's the real sort of core of his concern here? Does he see it as just how the system works or something more maybe orchestrated?
That's a great question. He strongly implies it's the latter. He describes this leveraging currencies as, a strategy where investors trade with borrowed capital way more than they actually have.
Like in Forex?
Yeah, common in markets like Forex. It amplifies gains, but crucially, it also amplifies losses massively. But Jackowski's insight, or his claim, is that this isn't just normal market risk.
Okay.
He frames it more as a deliberate, almost artificial attempt by America to keep the dollar looking strong. An illusion, basically, a bubble being pumped up. So his perspective really challenges the standard economic stories. He attributes a specific, almost, you could say, conspiratorial intent to why the dollar seems stable now, and he believes it's absolutely destined to burst. Spectacular.
So not just a pop, but something bigger. He actually details a prediction of not one, but 3 strong hits.
Yeah.
3 crashes.
Yeah, in quick succession.
Right, with short breaks between them. And the first hit, he says, that's the undeniable signal. Big trouble ahead. Why 3, do you think? What's the thinking there?
Well, it suggests something systemic, maybe. Not just one bad day, but a cascade.
Right.
Collapse.
Right.
The first hit is the warning shot, shakes everything up. The next 2 imply, there's no recovery possible, just this downward spiral.
And the consequences.
Dire.
Yeah.
Truly dire. He warns of total inflation. Money losing like 80 to 90% of its value.
80 to 90%.
Yeah. Lifelong savings.
Mhm.
Basically worthless. And on top of that, he predicts significant restrictions on bank withdrawals.
Oh, wow.
So even the little value your money still has, you might not be able to get to it easily. It sounds like a total financial lockdown scenario.
And if that's the picture for America, what about Europe? We often feel the ripples, right?
He's quite specific about Europe, too. He says Europe will suffer a similar crash, and he blames its vulnerability, interestingly, on the euro.
On the euro itself.
Yeah. His thinking seems to be that individual national currencies might have offered more resilience, like buffers. But the single euro makes the whole bloc susceptible to the same kind of economic meltdown he predicts for the dollar.
That's certainly a perspective. It touches on those big debates about currency and sovereignty.
Definitely does.
Okay, so the dollar's fate is looking pretty grim, according to Jackowski. What does this mean geopolitically? He suggests America might try something desperate. Not directly fighting, but creating a stir. It's a demon, he calls it.
Yeah, a commotion or a mess.
Right. to save its currency.
This is where his economics meets geopolitics, yeah. He suggests America, trying to save the dollar's global status, might try to instigate some chaos, but without getting its own hands dirty directly.
Wow.
He predicts an attempt to draw parts of Europe into the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Yeah.
He even mentions Poland specifically as a possibility, or maybe other individual European states.
And the goal of that would be?
To destabilize the region further, perhaps, and through that chaos, somehow reassert the dollar's dominance. It sounds like a really calculated, maybe desperate gamble in his view.
That is a heavy prediction, but does he say if it works, this desperate play?
No, he's very clear on that point. He states, quite unequivocally, that this attempt by the U.S. to pull Europe into the conflict to save the dollar will ultimately not work out. It will fail.
It fails.
That's his prediction. He suggests it's an unsuccessful effort. He even draws a parallel to history, reminding people that the dollar got much stronger after World War II,
Right.
implying the U.S. might be looking for a similar boost from a new conflict, but he believes it just won't work this time. It's unattainable now.
Okay, that's a lot to take in. The economic side, the geopolitical shifts he sees coming. But what really makes Jackowski's insights so unique, maybe even gives him the confidence for these predictions, is where he claims to get some of this knowledge from.
Right. This is the other major part of it.
Exactly. Now we need to step into this really extraordinary world of his claimed abilities, communicating with the deceased.
It's a huge shift in topic, isn't it? But for him, it seems like they're connected somehow. Different ways of accessing a deeper reality, perhaps.
Yeah, it seems central to who he is. And he doesn't just make vague claims, he offers these incredibly vivid stories, like the Niesno murder case. He says he was helping the police and suddenly gets this message, tell her about the herring preserve. I mean, that's so specific.
It really is. And that specificity is key, I think, to why people find these accounts compelling. The story goes, the police officer who was there was just completely shocked because she confirmed she had just seen a shopping note for Ukrainian herring preserve in the victim's kitchen while she was, like, dusting for prints or something.
Wow.
And the implication Jackowski draws is pretty mind-bending. The deceased woman, lying there, was apparently watching the investigation, noticing what the officer was doing.
So consciousness continuing, observing, even noting grocery lists.
It paints that picture, yes. A consciousness extending way beyond physical death.
That's powerful. There's also the story of Josef Lipina, a victim of drowning in the Missourian lakes, the Missourian glass, they call it.
Right. A poignant one.
He describes seeing Lipina's shirt and feeling this intense urge to wear it. He believed Lipina's soul sort of entered him to give him an impulse to find the body.
Yes, and the result of that impulse is the really striking part. He apparently pinpointed the body's location, miles away from where the man actually drowned, and did it without error, according to the account.
Without error.
Yeah. These stories suggest this deep connection, you know, the ability of souls maybe to guide not just with feelings, but with incredibly precise, actionable details. That leads to real-world results. It challenges our basic ideas about communication, about the afterlife.
So he's not just relaying messages. He seems to have this whole philosophy about what happens after we die. He believes souls don't just zip off to some magic place immediately. They stay aware, observe things around their body, for a while at least.
That's his view. And he describes the transition of death itself as being clearer than birth. Because, he says, souls remember both their earthly life and the other world they're returning to.
That's interesting. Clearer than birth.
It's a comforting idea in a way, but also profound. He suggests souls have a lot of freedom, a lot of choice after death. Though he does add a caveat, maybe a dark soul from a, quote, nefarious life might face limits, a different path.
Okay.
But crucially, he says souls often help find their own bodies. Not because the body itself matters to them anymore. He uses this striking image, likening it to worn-out shoes.
Worn-out shoes. Right, I remember that.
Exactly. But they help, he believes, to soothe the distraught family, to provide closure for the living. It suggests this continued empathy, this connection from those who've passed on. It totally reframes why finding remains might be important.
Yeah, the body as worn-out shoes for the soul. That's a really vivid image. It changes the whole perspective on the physical body after death, doesn't it?
Completely.
He also makes a clear difference between clairvoyance, jasnowidzenie, and mediumship, mediumism. Could you break that down for us?
Yeah, he emphasizes that clairvoyance, the jasnovabidsany, is more like telepathy or maybe intuitive insight, getting information about objects or events without direct contact.
Like finding a lost item.
Exactly. He gave an example, finding a lost ring, guiding someone to look in something soft like a pillow inside a wardrobe with pillowcases, which apparently turned out to be a small box in that exact spot. It's like flashes of information.
Okay. And mediumship.
Mediumism, he describes as something deeper, more profound, the ability to actually commune with souls directly.
Right. And this, he says, carries a much deeper responsibility. It implies a more direct interaction, maybe higher ethical stakes for the person doing it. So it's not all one thing. He sees distinct facets to these abilities. And what's really extraordinary, maybe the most extraordinary claim in some ways, is about his documentation. He says he has the largest collection of documented criminal and fate-related cases in the world. Cases where his abilities apparently help.
That's a massive claim.
Huge. And he states this documentation has been used for, what, 10 to 15 master's and diploma theses in Polish universities? And he issues this direct challenge to skeptics. Come and look at it. For people maybe not familiar with this field, how unique is that, having that kind of documentation? What makes his approach stand out?
That's a crucial point, and it's where he really defends his work, you could say. Look, mainstream science struggles massively to validate mediumship with its methods, right?
Yeah.
Results are often inconclusive. Jackowski's approach is different. He emphasizes the sheer volume, the consistency, the specificity of his case files. He believes the pattern across these cases, many seemingly verified by police outcomes and detailed in these academic theses, provides a unique kind of evidence. Evidence that, in his mind, should break the backbone of skepticism, as he puts it.
So he's not asking for blind faith.
No, not at all. He's basically saying, don't just believe me or dismiss me, examine the record, examine the results.
He dismisses criticism from other psychics as, like, childish or small-minded, suggesting they can't handle his documented track record. It's a very bold stance, especially given how hard these things are to prove scientifically.
Okay. So this deep dive has really thrown up these two fascinating, distinct strands from Krzysztof Jackowski. On one hand, these stark predictions about economics, geopolitics, the dollar, a new world order.
Big world-changing stuff.
Yeah. And on the other, these profound, sometimes unsettling insights into consciousness after death and his claimed ability to interact with that realm. It's a lot to process, definitely. And it challenges so many of our assumptions about how the world works financially, spiritually, you name it.
Right.
What's really compelling is how, for him, they seem linked. Like this unseen knowledge informs his visions of the physical world.
Right. So regardless of where you, the listener, stand on these visions, whether you find them credible or outlandish or somewhere in between, this deep dive, I think, pushes us to consider what we believe. About the future of our financial world, sure, but maybe even more fundamentally about the nature of consciousness itself.
Absolutely.
What if some of these seemingly separate ideas, collapsing financial systems and souls sticking around, what if they are connected in ways we just can't grasp yet?
It definitely encourages reflection, doesn't it? Thinking about the implications. If a world really could operate like that, where the economic and the spiritual intertwine so dramatically, if any of his claims hold water, it would fundamentally change how we plan, how we grieve, how we see our place in the cosmos. It's a perspective that, I agree, deserves at least some thoughtful consideration.
We invite you to keep pondering these profound questions long after this deep dive ends. Thank you for joining us.